are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
Atheists have a God-given right to be wrong.
And now your host, Brock Lawley.
Taking a ride to another
Thank you. This is the Atheist Antidote Show. My name is Brock Lawley. I am the Atheist Antidote here and elsewhere. Feel free to wander upon the internet waves and find what you will concerning the Atheist Antidote. You will be more than pleased. You are welcome. This is a nice, reasonable, soft pillow to lay your weary head. I know you are weary from the week of secular extremism, just beating the crap out of you. The nail bed that you have to lay on every single day by way of leftist claptrap and tomfoolery, and you have found your home for reason, truth, and just a whisper of common sense from time to time. Today, I'm unfortunately going to go after the atheist Achilles heel again. I used to do this quite a bit. A lot of people don't realize this, but I know I do a lot of political commentary now, but originally my YouTube channel directly and almost exclusively dealt with doing battle with new atheism, the militancy of new atheism, largely because when that venue, YouTube started, the atheists just, completely gobbled up all the intellectual real estate there, and they really were dominating the ideas and slandering, etc. And I noticed that especially with young people, so I got in the game and tried to do a little intellectual pushback there and offered some defenses, some intellectual defenses, and some theological defenses to the slander that I saw there. And then after a while, atheism on YouTube sort of imploded. Leftism and political correct sort of had a cannibalizing itself, and that's a long story. I can get into that some other time. And I decided anyway that really secular extremism, the engine of it, the way they implement it and legislate it specifically on our world, is politics and leftist politics largely. And so I started doing a lot of butting heads and logging horns with that. But today I want to address something. I had a conversation with a real friendly coworker of mine this day, and he is an avid atheist, but we talk about all the time. A lot of people don't know this, but the majority of my friends are not believers, and I'd say 50% of those non-believers are atheists. So I have a lot of atheists in my life, and I'm always talking to them. People don't think that, but unlike atheism, or the majority of militant atheism, theists don't intellectually inbreed. We don't. I know I don't. It's impossible to. Anyway, we're always rubbing shoulders with the godless, if you will. But, it's an interesting correlation I want to make. The problem I always have with a lot of conspiracy theorists, and here's the thing, when you're a conservative, you realize that you're pretty much you're like a soft libertarian. That's pretty much what I am. I'm a soft libertarian. I'd go all the way with the libertarians, but they lose me on foreign policy a little bit. And then the conspiracy theories is really what keeps me, because libertarians are just convinced of every freaking conspiracy theory you can imagine. And I know I'm making enemies of the libertarians, but you just have to deal with this. Bear with me. The problem with conspiracy theorists that I find is that they never actually, they're wonderful thinkers. They have this fierce jackrabbit imagination, and they have a really cunning mind, and they're always looking for the angles, but they never turn that same cunning mind, they never turn that same skepticism in on itself. You know what I mean? So, and there's all these theories as to why people are conspiracy theorists, but, a lot of it's self-aggrandizement and just self-importance and stuff, because you have the secret information nobody else has, which is another reason I can't lock arms with the conspiracy theory crowd. But in a lot of ways, their biggest weakness is that they never turn that same lens of skepticism on their chosen conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? So if it's Bigfoot or if it's aliens or whatever it is, I'm not even saying that those things aren't true. I'm saying, you need to apply the same critical thinking that you apply to the man or the people that are trying to keep these secrets from you, to your own little weird underpants club where you got 5 members and you all believe in Bigfoot and stuff. You have to apply that same critical thinking to your little club of conspiracy theorists, and that's the breakdown. Well, atheism has a lot in common with that. They never put themselves on the couch. They have all this, they consider themselves to be rationalists and brights and rational thinkers and intellectuals. And they put theism on the couch, and then they look at it from a bunch of different angles, and they poke it and they prod it. And they never bother doing that with atheism. You know what I mean? These are people that think that they themselves are nothing but accidents. They look around at the world and they see all the intricacies of the world, and they just attribute it to the hocus pocus primordial ooze, thing that just crawled out of the slop. And they never stop and think, well, how practical is this? And then they come up with all these theories to run away from a creator, which is fine, by the way, if that's intellectually something you want to do. I think everything should be looked through the lens of critical thinking. But they never actually take those whacked out multi-theory, multi-universe theories and never say, hey, what's the probability of these things? They're very, very, very good at finding every hole in the argument of theism, to which there are some, by the way. I openly admit that. And I strongly encourage Christians to know their theology, know the Word of God, know what you believe, because if it's not intellectually sound for you, then you don't really own it. But the problem with the atheist is the engine that they're coming at this skepticism with is not an intellectual engine. It took me a long time to realize that, but that's not. They've been wronged in the past. They've been embittered. Some Christian rubbed them the wrong way. Some church rubbed them the wrong way. Maybe some upbringing went sour. And this is actually the reason that they want God not to be there. Not some intellectual curiosity. That's what they say. But that's not actually, when you really get down to brass tack, that's not what ends up being the case. And they hate it when somebody like me says this and puts this finger on this little insecurity of theirs, but it is true. Now, I've done a lot of extensive traveling in Europe, and the irony is that when you're in Europe, these are some real, authentic atheists. Like, the churches you walk by there have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. A lot of these guys know their theology. Religion is all around them, by the way, of the aesthetics and the ornamentation. I mean, Knox's church is over there, and you walk by some of the greatest theological thinkers in the flesh over there. They got the statues over there, but they really don't believe it. But here in America, a lot of times you're just getting like an outcropping of emotional, childishness from atheism, and that's why it's so angry and flamboyant. That's why they're flamethrowers and so on and so forth. Interesting thing. I just wanted to make that tie. That's the point of this podcast. That the conspiracy theorists and the atheists have so much in common, because they never put their own, their own little crew, their own little idea, their own little, outcropping of thought. They never put that on the couch. They never analyze that with the same skepticism that they do the thing that they think is just blinding them and pulling the wool over so many people's eyes. It's something to think about. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Atheist Antidote Show.